Everyone at school knew that Emma and I had been together for almost 4 years. We had grown up together, studied together, celebrated birthdays together, and made countless promises about our future. At least, that was what I believed. Emma was the kind of girl everyone noticed when she entered a room. Beautiful, confident, and intelligent. I'd always been proud to stand beside her. Then, one Monday morning, she told me something that changed everything. "We're transferring." I stared at her. "We?" Emma smiled as though the decision was obvious. "Me and Ryan." Ryan. The name hit me harder than I expected. Ryan was the new student who had joined our school only a few months earlier. He was confident, popular, and exactly the kind of person Emma had always said she disliked. I forced a smile. "Why are you transferring with him?" Emma looked uncomfortable for only a second. "His family is moving to another city. He asked me to go with him." I waited for her to laugh. She didn't. "So you're choosing him?" Emma sighed. "Don't make this dramatic." That sentence told me everything. She wasn't asking me to understand. She was informing me. I looked at her and remembered every promise she had made. "We'll go to university together. We'll never leave each other. No matter where life takes us, we'll follow each other." Apparently, those promises had an expiration date. "Are you expecting me to follow you?" I asked. Emma's expression softened. "Of course." I almost laughed. She actually believed I would. She believed I would abandon my plans, my family, my future, and my dignity just to remain close to her. "I'm not going," I said. Emma froze. "What?" I said, "I'm not following you." Her eyes widened. For the first time, she looked genuinely surprised. "You can't be serious." "I am." She stood up. "Then what are we supposed to do?" I looked at her quietly. "You already decided that." Emma's face changed. She had expected me to fight for her. Instead, I accepted her choice. That night, I went home and opened an old notebook. Inside were all the plans we had made together. University, careers, travel, marriage, a house, children. I stared at those dreams for a long time. Then I crossed out every plan that included Emma. My father had once told me about a university in the northern mountains. It was far away, cold, quiet, and completely different from everything I knew. I called the admissions office the next morning. 3 days later, I received my acceptance. I didn't tell Emma. I didn't tell Ryan. I didn't tell anyone at school. I simply packed my bags. The morning I left, I stood outside the train station with one suitcase. For the first time in years, I was completely alone. My phone buzzed. "Emma, where are you?" I looked at the message. Then I turned off my phone. The train began moving north. And somewhere behind me, I left the person I had once believed I could never live without. I didn't know it yet, but Emma was about to discover something even more painful. She hadn't lost me because I stopped loving her. She lost me because I finally learned to love myself. The farther the train traveled north, the quieter my life became. The city disappeared behind me. Then the buildings became smaller. Eventually, all I could see were mountains. For the first time in years, nobody knew me as Emma's boyfriend. I was simply Noah, and strangely enough, that felt freeing. My new university was surrounded by snow-covered mountains. The air was freezing. The campus was smaller than my old school, but it was peaceful. Nobody cared about my relationship. Nobody asked why Emma wasn't with me. Nobody expected me to be someone else's shadow. At first, I felt lonely. Every evening, I instinctively reached for my phone. There would be messages from Emma. At least, I thought there would be. The first day, "Are you really not coming?" The second, "You're being childish." The third, "Ryan says you're jealous." I stared at that message for several seconds. Then I deleted it. I didn't respond. A week passed. Then two. I began attending classes. I joined a photography club. I started working part-time at a small cafe near campus. That's where I met Lily. She wasn't interested in my past. She didn't know Emma. She didn't care about Ryan. One afternoon, Lily placed a cup of coffee in front of me. "You look like someone who is trying very hard not to look sad." I smiled. "Is it that obvious?" "Extremely." I laughed for the first time in weeks. Slowly, my new life began taking shape. I studied, worked, photographed the mountains, made friends, and eventually, I started sleeping peacefully. Meanwhile, Emma's messages became less frequent. Then one evening, She sent a picture. It was her and Ryan. They were standing together at their new school. The caption said, "New beginning." I looked at it. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel jealous. I simply put my phone down. That was when I realized something. I was finally moving on, but Emma wasn't. Because when I stopped chasing her, she suddenly noticed the empty space I had left behind. At first, she tried to pretend everything was fine. She posted pictures with Ryan. She smiled in every photo. She told her friends she had never been happier. But behind those pictures, things weren't as perfect as she wanted everyone to believe. Ryan wasn't me. He didn't remember her small habits. He didn't know when she was pretending to be okay. He didn't wait outside her classroom when she had a bad day. He didn't understand the stories behind her silence. And Emma began noticing. One night, she opened our old conversation. She scrolled through years of messages. Then she typed, "I miss you." She stared at it and deleted it. She typed again, "Can we talk?" Deleted. Finally, she sent, "Are you coming back?" I saw the message the next morning. I looked outside my window. Snow was falling over the mountains. I typed only one sentence. "No." Then I put my phone away. I didn't know that my single word would hurt Emma more than all our arguments combined. 3 months passed. My life in the North had changed me. I wasn't the same person who had stood in front of Emma and asked her why she was choosing Ryan. I had stopped waiting for answers. I had stopped checking her social media. I had stopped wondering whether she regretted leaving. My grades improved. My photography began getting attention. The cafe owner offered me more hours. And Lily slowly became one of my closest friends. She never pushed me to talk about Emma, but she knew there was a story. One evening, while we were walking back from campus, Lily asked, "Do you still love her?" I didn't answer immediately. Finally, I said, "I don't know." Lily smiled. "That usually means yes." "Maybe. Then why don't you go back?" I looked toward the mountains. "Because loving someone doesn't mean I have to accept everything they do to me." Lily became quiet. That sentence stayed with me. Back home, Emma's relationship with Ryan was falling apart. Ryan had become increasingly controlling. He hated that Emma still kept old photos. He hated that she sometimes checked my profile. He hated hearing my name. One night, they argued. "Are you still thinking about him?" Emma didn't answer. Ryan laughed bitterly. "That's what I thought." Emma finally exploded. "You were the one who told me I deserved something better. And you believed me." "No. I believed you because I thought you cared about me." Ryan stared at her. Then he said something that changed everything. "You didn't choose me because you loved me. You chose me because you thought Noah would always be waiting." Emma went silent. Because he was right. She had assumed I would follow. She had assumed I would forgive. She had assumed I would eventually return. But I didn't. The next morning, Emma called me. I almost didn't answer. Then I did. Silence. "Hello." I heard her breathing. "Noah." Her voice was different. Softer. "I've been thinking." I looked out the window. "About what?" "Us." I closed my eyes. "Emma, we don't have an us anymore." She began crying. "You don't understand." "I understand perfectly." "No, you don't. I thought you'd come after me." I laughed quietly. "That was the problem." She went silent. "You expected me to follow you after you chose someone else." "I made a mistake." "You did. Then come back." I couldn't believe how easily she said it. As if 3 months of pain could disappear because she finally regretted her decision. "I'm not coming back." Her voice cracked. "Why?" I answered honestly. "Because the person you want back isn't the person who left." She cried harder. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Then I remembered the day she told me she was leaving. She had chosen Ryan without hesitation. Now she was choosing me because I had become unavailable. That wasn't love. That was regret. And I refused to become someone's second choice again. After that call, I expected Emma to disappear. Instead, she became more persistent. Messages, calls, emails, even letters. I ignored most of them, not because I hated her, because I was afraid. Afraid that if I heard her voice too many times, I'd remember the old Emma. The girl who used to wait for me outside school. The girl who knew exactly how I liked my coffee. The girl who once told me that she would never leave. But memories don't change reality. One afternoon, Lily found me sitting alone outside the cafe. "You're thinking about her again." I sighed. "Am I that predictable?" "Yes." She sat beside me. Do you want her back? I stared at the snow. Sometimes. Lily nodded. That's okay. I looked at her. It's okay. Missing someone doesn't mean you should return to them. Her words hit me harder than expected. Meanwhile, my photography was becoming successful. One of my mountain photographs was selected for a national student exhibition. I couldn't believe it. The same boy who had once measured his worth through Emma's attention was now standing in a gallery while strangers admired something he had created. My father attended. He looked proud. After the exhibition, he put his hand on my shoulder. Your mother would have loved this. I smiled. That night, I understood something. I had spent years building a life around another person. Now I was finally building one around myself. Then Emma arrived. Without telling me, I was leaving the exhibition hall when I saw her standing across the street. For a moment, everything stopped. She looked exhausted, different. She had traveled hundreds of kilometers just to see me. Noah, I froze. What are you doing here? She walked closer. I needed to see you. Why? She looked at me. Because I finally understand. Understand what? That you really left. I said nothing. She continued. I thought you'd come back. I thought you'd get lonely. I thought you'd miss me. I did miss you. Her eyes filled with tears. Then why didn't you come back? Because missing you wasn't enough anymore. She looked broken. I felt something inside me crack. But then I remembered why I had left. Emma, you didn't lose me when I went north. She looked up. You lost me when you chose someone else and expected me to follow. She cried silently. Then she whispered, I was stupid. Yes. She looked shocked that I agreed. I didn't say it to hurt her. I said it because honesty was the only thing left between us. Emma stepped closer. Can I have another chance? I looked at the girl I had once wanted to marry. Then I looked at the person I had become. I don't know. For the first time, I didn't give her an answer she wanted. And somehow, that was the most honest answer I could give. Emma stayed in the north for 3 days. She didn't pressure me. She didn't demand anything. She simply tried to understand my new life. She saw me working at the cafe. She visited my photography class. She watched me laugh with friends. And slowly, I noticed something. She wasn't jealous of Lily. She was jealous of the person I had become. One evening, Emma said, You're different. I smiled. Is that bad? No. She looked away. It makes me realize how much I took you for granted. I didn't answer. She continued. You used to tell me everything. You stopped listening. Her eyes lowered. That hurts. It hurt me too. For once, she didn't argue. She accepted it. That mattered. But accepting responsibility wasn't the same as rebuilding trust. Emma wanted us to return to the past. I couldn't. The past was exactly where we had broken. One morning, she asked me to go hiking with her. We climbed a snowy trail overlooking the valley. Halfway up, Emma stopped. Do you remember this? I looked at her. What? The promise we made. I remembered. Years ago, we had promised that one day we'd watch the sunrise from the mountains together. She smiled sadly. We're finally here. I looked at the horizon. The sun slowly appeared behind the mountains. It was beautiful, but the moment didn't feel the way I had imagined. Because the person standing beside me wasn't the same Emma from my memories. And I wasn't the same Noah. She reached for my hand. I hesitated. For a few seconds, everything felt familiar. Then Emma whispered, I love you. My heart tightened. I looked at her. I loved you too. Her expression changed. Loved? I didn't answer. She understood. Tears filled her eyes. Is there someone else? I shook my head. That's not the point. Then what is? The point is that I don't want to be loved only after someone realizes what they lost. Emma looked down. I know. She let go of my hand. For the first time, I saw that she wasn't trying to manipulate me. She genuinely understood. And that made things harder. Because sometimes the most painful endings aren't caused by hatred. They're caused by two people who still care about each other, but can no longer return to who they were. Emma returned home. This time, I didn't stop her. For several weeks, we didn't speak. Then one afternoon, I received a message. Not from Emma. From Ryan. He wanted to meet. I almost ignored him. But curiosity won. We met at a quiet cafe. Ryan looked nothing like the confident boy I remembered. He looked tired. I owe you an apology, he said. I raised an eyebrow. For what? For Emma. I didn't respond. He looked down. I convinced her to transfer because I wanted her with me. I knew she loved you. I stared at him. Then why did you do it? Because I thought if I could separate you, she'd eventually choose me. He laughed bitterly. She did. I said nothing, but I still lost. That sentence stayed with me. Ryan continued. She didn't stop comparing me to you. I wasn't sure how to feel. I didn't want to win against him. I didn't want Emma to regret choosing me. I just wanted my life to remain peaceful. Then Ryan said, she finally told me something. What? She said she didn't want you back because she couldn't live without you. I looked at him. She said she wanted you back because she finally realized she could have treated you better. That was different, and somehow it mattered. Later that night, Emma called. I heard you met Ryan. Yes. I'm sorry. You don't have to apologize for that. No. I mean for everything. I remained silent. I used to think love meant someone would never leave me. Her voice trembled. Now I understand that love means giving someone a reason to stay. I closed my eyes. That was the first time Emma had said something that didn't make me want to run. She wasn't asking me to come back. She wasn't begging. She wasn't blaming me. She was simply admitting that she had failed. I hope you find happiness, I told her. There was silence. Even if it's not with me. I swallowed. Yes. She cried. So do I. Then we ended the call. I expected to feel devastated. Instead, I felt peaceful. For the first time, Emma and I weren't fighting to own each other's future. We were finally letting each other have one. A year passed. I graduated near the top of my class. My photography career had begun taking off. I received an offer from a travel magazine to photograph northern landscapes. For the first time, I had everything I once thought I needed Emma for. A purpose, a future, a reason to wake up excited. Then on graduation day, I saw her again. Emma stood at the back of the crowd. She wasn't the same girl who had left me, and I wasn't the same boy she had abandoned. After the ceremony, she approached me. Congratulations. Thank you. She smiled. I saw your photographs. You did. I've been following your work. I nodded. There was no anger anymore. Just history. Emma handed me a small envelope. What is this? Open it later. That evening, I opened it. Inside was an old photograph of us, 4 years younger, smiling. On the back, Emma had written, I thought losing you would destroy me. Instead, it taught me who I had been. I sat quietly for a long time. Then my phone rang. Emma. I answered. Did you read it? Yes. I don't want anything from you. I smiled faintly. That's new. She laughed softly. I deserve that. Then she became serious. I just wanted you to know that I finally stopped waiting for you to come back. I looked at the photograph. That's good. I'm moving to another city. What? New job. I smiled. Congratulations. Thank you. Silence. Then she whispered. Noah. Yeah. If we had met again today, without all the history between us, do you think you would choose me? I looked outside. Snow was falling. I thought about the old me, the boy who would have answered immediately. Then I thought about the man I had become. I think I would have liked you. Emma laughed through tears. But I don't know if we would have been right for each other. She was silent. Then she said, That's enough. We said goodbye. This time, neither of us cried. Because sometimes closure isn't getting someone back. Sometimes closure is finally being able to remember them without wanting to return. 5 years later, I returned to my hometown. Not because I missed Emma. Not because I wanted revenge. I returned because my photography company was opening a new office there. Life had become strange. The boy who once left everything behind with one suitcase had built a career around traveling the world. I had photographed mountains in 6 countries. I had written articles. My photographs had appeared in magazines. And eventually, I bought the small cafe where I had once worked in the north. It became my favorite place. Lily was still there too. She had become my business partner. And, slowly, something else. One evening, while we were closing the cafe, she asked, Do you ever think about Emma? I smiled. Sometimes. Do you regret leaving? I looked outside at the snow. No. Lily smiled. Why? Because leaving wasn't about punishing her. I paused. It was about saving myself. That was the truth. A few days later, I received an invitation. Emma was getting married. I stared at the card. For a moment, I felt something strange. Not jealousy, not sadness, just nostalgia. I attended the wedding. Emma saw me. Her eyes widened. Then she smiled. She walked over. You came. Of course. She looked at Lily standing beside me. Then she smiled. I see. Lily gently held my hand. Emma looked happy. Actually happy. Not the forced happiness from her old photographs. Real happiness. I heard about your company, she said. And I heard you're getting married. She laughed. Looks like we're both doing okay. Looks like it. Before leaving, Emma stopped me. Noah. I turned. Thank you. For what? For leaving. I stared at her. She smiled sadly. If you had stayed, I might never have realized what I was doing. I smiled. And if you hadn't left, I might never have discovered who I could become. We stood silently for a moment. Then Emma hugged me. It wasn't romantic. It wasn't painful. It was simply goodbye. A real goodbye. I walked back to Lily. She looked at me. You okay? I nodded. Yeah. We stepped outside. Snow began falling. I looked up at the sky and remembered that train from years ago. The night I left. The night I thought my world had ended. But it hadn't ended. It had started. I had gone north alone because the girl I loved chose another guy. At the time, I thought she had shattered my heart. Years later, I finally understood. She didn't shatter my life. She shattered the version of my life that I had built around her. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because sometimes the person who leaves you isn't taking your future away. Sometimes they're accidentally giving it back. I turned toward Lily. Ready? She smiled. Always. We walked through the snow together. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. Because the past had finally become what it was supposed to be. A memory. And the future? That belonged to me.